Hey everyone, and welcome to 1.21 Gigawatts movie news. I am Peter, that is Connor, and as the title would suggest, we talk about the week's movie news. We have a comic movie section, we talk about this week's trailers, we do general movie news, and we have a horror section at the end. We also talk at the end of the show about any movies we watched this week that wasn't for review purposes, just sort of other stuff we happen to watch. And that's the show, that's what we do. And it typically runs pretty long. This tends to be a long show. I think this one will be shorter though.
Less trailers than usual.
Less trailers. Less overall news, I think, too. So I'm confident this one might actually. This could be the first one that's only one part on the audio. We could actually get down to 90 minutes on this.
Oh, so I was going to say, we might get less than 2 hours then. And you're going for 90 minutes.
I'm not saying I'm confident. I'm saying it's possible.
Oh, well, let's see how much we go off on one yet.
But hey, so that's what's going to happen. And as always, we start with the box office. The last weekend's domestic box office. We have a look at that. And of course, last week we made some predictions.
We did.
Which, for some funds, we guessed at what the opening weekend for Black Panther would be. The 3-day weekend, I know last weekend was a holiday weekend, so there's also the 4-day weekend. We're not counting that. I don't care about 4 days.
It's not as comparable, is it?
Yeah, no. I want the one that we can compare to every other weekend, which is the 3-day weekend. You guessed 117 million for Black Panther.
I did.
I guessed 135 million.
So we weren't that far apart, really. There's a difference. Don't wrong. I'm saying no. I'm saying you shot higher than me.
Mm-hmm.
We were both nowhere near.
But I was nearer, so therefore I win.
Yeah, I can't argue that.
Price is Right rules. I win.
Look, I can't argue that. I'm
right.
just saying.
The actual intake, and it actually went up because the estimates came in as they always do at the weekend. It actually went up a little bit when the finals came in. The final amount for the 3-day weekend was 202 million.
Oh man, because it wasn't quite 200 over
it was 195 when the first estimates came in.
Yeah, something like that. Okay.
202 million. That is.
Jesus Christ.
I think I read right. It was the 5th highest opening weekend of all time.
Yeah, fourth or fifth.
Yeah, something in there. So. Yeah, Black Panther doing quite well. Obviously, me and Matt did the review. That's up. Obviously we plug things at the end, but it's relevant here because we're talking about Black Panther.
Yeah.
And we quite enjoyed it. It was pretty good. So no, it's doing well. I think my thinking in going higher is that kind of the same thing as Wonder Woman. Oh, it's a movie aimed at a group of people. They don't typically get that attention. And I think because it's the first big budget, all black, well, mostly all black, but black focused superhero movie, combined with the fact that it's getting good, word of mouth, good buzz, would collide and it would explode into big numbers. It went even further, and obviously I thought it did it anyway, and 202 million. So congratulations to Black Panther and Ryan Coogler.
It's genuinely insane. I lowballed it, and I didn't really argue on your 135. I was like, yeah, it's possible. If you told me it was going to do 200 million, I'm not going to lie, I'd have said no chance. Because I genuinely didn't expect. I don't think anyone was expecting this much. None of the predictions had it this high, from what I saw.
Yeah, I don't think so. So that's number one, obviously, just to make, if that wasn't clear. Black Panther is number one. And so I think we should play some fun guessing games for next week, because what's the second weekend going to be? My guess... before we say this, have you looked at any predictions from...
I haven't, no.
Oh, good, right, okay. Because, again, at this time of the week, you can look at what the industry's like guessing, and we have not done that, though.
Sometimes I never actively seek them out, but sometimes you'll just see them.
But my guess for next week, I'm actually going to go big here as well. Since it defied expectations, I think I had one of the strongest Mondays of this time of the year as well, and so on. I'm going to go big and say it hits 100 million for weekend number 2. 100, straight 100.
Okay. I agree. It might go big because I'm seeing a lot of people going, "Oh, repeat viewings, word of mouth is strong." I'm sticking with last week's guess. I'm going 117.
Oh,
I'm gonna be right eventually.
How often does a movie that opens this big not drop 50% or more? That is ballsy. That's ballsy.
It is a bold claim, but I can't be bothered thinking of a real number. So 117 it is.
I like my chances.
So do I.
I like my chances. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Number 2 was Peter Rabbit with 17.5 million. Number 3 was 50 Shades Freed with 17.3 million. Number 4 was Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle with 7.9 million. Which, in case you're curious, Jumanji has crossed 900 million. It's 910 million worldwide at the box office. For record, actually, since we're talking about Black Panther, not even its second weekend yet, has made 520 million at the box office. So Black Panther's crossing 1 billion. Black Panther is making Justice League.
Oh, it's already outgrossed Justice League's entire run.
Domestically, yes, not worldwide.
No, but
that's what we're talking about.
Figure here.
We're talking about worldwide, though. We're not.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
I started this with 520. It is going to make Justice League lick its boots. This is insane.
Like,
I mean, hell, Thor 3 did that already, admittedly, but that's even more so.
Yeah, at least Thor had, the sequel rule going into it. Like,
yeah, but go back 5 years in time, right, and tell yourself, oh, by the way, the first ever Justice League movie is going to get beat by Thor 3.
I know. I liked Black Panther. I didn't love it as much as you and Max. I listened to your review.
Oh, did you?
I thought it was pretty good. Don't get me wrong. I had a few problems.
I'm proud of that review. But what did you think of the film?
I thought it was a very good film.
I didn't even get my joke there. What's that?
No, I'm just giving my actual thoughts because I'm taking the chance.
Yeah, but my joke was, you said it was pretty good, and I said, yeah, but what did you think of the movie?
I know, but I didn't want to give you the compliments. I brushed over.
Yeah, but now continue.
I had problems with the third act. I thought it was very rushed and it had some contrivances. And on top of that, the villain, while a very good villain and one of the best Marvel villains easily, could have done with a bit more time for the first half of the movie. We spent a lot of time with Andy Serkis' villain from before that was kind of like, okay, why are we doing this?
Okay. All right.
Easily a better movie.
Could this not have went at the end when we were talking about movies?
It could have done, but it's here now. And I wanted to say, easily a better movie than Justice League.
Oh yeah, of course, absolutely. I mean, hell, it could have been half as good and it'd be easily better than Justice League.
Exactly, but what a world we live in where Black Panther easily outgrosses Justice League, the first Justice League movie.
Yeah, the first ever Justice League movie, and Black Panther's trouncing it. Is I don't know, the world we're living in, but it's very good. Ryan Coogler made a good movie, really solid cast, all the rest of it. You can see me in Matt's review, 1.21 Jigowatts. Went up earlier this week. So, yeah, where was that? So, number 4 was Jumanji. Number 5 was the 1517 to Paris at 7.5 million. Number 6 is The Greatest Showman with 5 million. Number 7 is Early Man with 3.1 million. Number 8 is The Maze Runner, The Death Cure with 2.6 million. Number 9 is Winchester with 2.2 million. And number 10 is The Post with 1.9 million. Well, actually, it rounds up to 2, to be fair, but big difference.
Hey.
We're down at 1 and 2 million now. It's
not a huge difference, but 2 sounds better than 1.
Well, no, 1.9 versus 2.
Yeah, but it's the like when they say, oh, something's $1.99 because it just sounds cheaper than 2. So in this case, they want you to say 2 because 2 sounds better than $1.99.
Sure, whatever. I don't care. All right, so that's the box office, which will take us on to the comic book movie news. And yeah, so big thing to start with this week. Joss Whedon has officially exited the Batgirl movie that was in the works, Warner Brothers and DC Films. Basically put out a statement along the lines of, yeah, he kind of signed on without any actual things planned and spent the last year trying to come up with the story for it and just can't. And
it's basically because he's got nothing.
Yeah, that was basically his thing. I mean, his statement was very Joss Whedon in the way it was written. It was, had that kind of sense of humour, that self-depreciating kind of thing to it. So obviously, as a Joss Whedon fan, as a Batgirl fan, I am disappointed by this news. That's the obvious thing to get out of the way first, is my personal kind of disappointment of it. However, what I really want to talk about with this is 2 points on the DC films in general. One, how many DC films, when we finally get them, if we do indeed get them, will have the director they originally had when they were first announced, or the first director who was hired?
Probably none.
Not a lot of them.
Aquaman, maybe.
I can't remember if it was anyone before James Wan.
I can't remember, but I don't think there was.
The point I'm making is that it's quite a few of them have went through directors at this point. It's just kind of insane. Number two is they announced far too much. They announced that Whedon Batgirl news way before they should have.
Oh, we should never have heard about this.
We should never have known about it. This should have been completely internal. But of course, they want that buzz. They want that thing. And I've heard the comparison that, oh yeah, they've announced like 10 movies and some of them may not happen. But yeah, Marvel did that with Phase 3. They announced like 10 movies. Here's the thing though. Marvel announced a Phase 3 slate of 10 movies or whatever after they'd already proven to us with like 78 films that they were reliable and fairly consistent. For better or worse.
Yeah.
They put their movies out, they were hitting their dates mostly, and that Phase 3 slate, a couple of things get pushed back, and Inhumans was the one thing that got cancelled.
It's mostly happened, though.
It's mostly happened, and they added in an extra film, Spider-Man, so you could argue that they just swapped Inhumans for Spider-Man.
Yeah, you could, because that's the thing, they moved around some of the dates, because obviously Spider-Man came in and shuffled Thor around from its original date.
Yeah, it knocked Captain Marvel back and Black Panther back, I think, a slot, because they were maybe 4 to 6 months earlier, and then they both got pushed back a bit. But
ultimately, I go, well, it's all happened, except Inhumans, which, to their credit, they still did a TV show of. They did something with it. They just didn't get... I mean, they probably shouldn't have done.
Yeah, they just shat it out with Scott Buck.
They basically went, oh, shit, we promised Inhumans. Who's the cheapest man we can get?
That's his superpower. You know, there's a wrestler called the $1 Million Man. Scott Buck is the opposite of that. I don't know what that is, but... The 99-cent man, I don't know. So obviously I'm disappointed because I like Whedon and I like Batgirl. And honestly, I feel like we won't get a Batgirl movie, at least not for a long time. I think the only reason why a Batgirl movie was even in the works was because Joss Whedon was attached to it.
Oh, definitely. I think this doesn't surprise me because, a couple of weeks ago we got some news about the current upcoming slate for DC stuff, and Batgirl was notably not on it.
Oh, Connor, you've led on to the next news item.
Oh, I'm so good at this.
Beautifully. DC
unintentional segues.
DC Films announced that they've got a new vice president of production. Chantal Nong has joined in that role. That's not particularly notable. Obviously, we got a new president, Walter Hamada, recently.
Yes. Taken
over. So now he's got his second in command. But along with that, it came some story about what's next in the slate. This news story was a day before the Whedon leaving Batgirl news story.
Right, okay.
One day before. And with the news of this new hiring, the Hollywood Reporter outlined the order of which the DC films were doing with future projects. We obviously have Aquaman coming up this year, then we have Shazam next year, and then the slate following that, the first 3 films coming after that, in this order, were Wonder Woman 2, which makes sense, Flashpoint, and Batgirl.
Yeah. Joe, I didn't see this news, but I knew where it was going because of the way it built.
One day later, Whedon's out of Batgirl. So here's my thing. The DC movie news, cycle, is the most insane, and it's a bunch of blind people in do you know that scene from Star Wars in the trash compactor?
Yeah.
Imagine that, but with a room full of blind people. That is them trying to manage in the public relations and their announcements.
Here's the thing. I don't know if these are all true at various points as they're getting reported, if there is a communications error internally, like between this new VP, putting out, we're getting this stuff, and then Joss Whedon went, oh shit, they're saying that? I should probably tell them I'm going. I don't know what's going on anymore.
This one's particularly weird because it's one day before. I think in general, though, I fully believe that it is that the internal truth just keeps changing because they keep changing their minds. Again, going back to the idea that we're hearing about things far too early before they've actually...
generally, I agree with that train of thought.
This one's a bit weirder because it's a day before.
Is this a case, that news came out and Joss went, hey guys, you know how you got that Batgirl slated?
And you're saying it's 3 movies away. Yeah, that ain't happening.
That ain't happening anymore. You better call the press. Cancel that.
Now, technically, Batgirl the movie itself has not been cancelled. However, nothing on this slate has been cancelled before, and yet a lot of things have been shuffled around, and things have came and went. So do not.
I will be shocked if we get a Batgirl movie in anytime soon.
Honestly, here's what you should Your attitude with the DC movie news should be this: until there are pictures of people on set filming something, it's up in the air. Grain of salt.
And you know what is amazing about this? You know, the slate of coming up things. The Batman movie isn't there in that next few.
Yep, which was
that seemed to be the furthest one along.
Well, not against Shazam and Aquaman.
Not against those. I mean, out of the rest of them, like
I'd say that was probably on par with Wonder Woman 2. I don't know if I'd put Batman ahead of it.
Wonder Woman 2 has a head start where it doesn't need as much time to get going because most of it's already ready to go in terms of cast and all.
So there's your weekly roller coaster ride in DC movie news.
Oh, well, what a week! I could say that every week, couldn't I?
I probably could. Anyway, next up, still in comic book movie news, we got a couple of smaller comic book movie things. So, up-and-coming screenwriter Umair Aleem has been tapped to write the Danger Girl film. Danger Girl was a comic book in the 90s. I think it was an IDW comic. And it was basically a Charlie's Angel knockoff. It was basically what it is. The comic stars the eponymous group of female secret agents who engage in adventures in the vein of Charlie's Angels, James Bond, and Indiana Jones. They are led by former British Secret Service agent named Deuce.
Sounds reasonably fun. It sounds like I'd have some fun with it.
Yeah, it could be good, could be terrible. Not a lot to go on there. Never read the comic. And then next up, we have a cast list that have been announced for something that's based on a comic. The comic's called Polar, Came from the Cold. The movie's called Polar, at least right now. So Vanessa Hudgens, Catherine Winnick, who's from Vikings, obviously Vanessa Hudgens, from High School Musical and maybe other things too. Matt Lucas, who you may know from Doctor Who, or other places. They've all signed up to
Little Britain, obviously,
to join Polar. But who outside of the UK knows Little Britain or cares about it? And honestly, I wish I didn't know about Little Britain. I wish I could erase it from.
I'm just saying, it's a big role for him. It was a career-defining role.
Anyway, so Mads Mikkelsen's the lead. He's the star of it. It's going to be directed by Swedish filmmaker Jonas Åkerlund. So it's based on a Dark Horse action noir graphic novel, is how they've phrased it. But Netflix are actually going to distribute it sometime next year. So
I mean, I like all the cast involved in that. My thoughts on Netflix movies have been slightly neutered as of late.
Yes, even when a director you thought you could trust turns in a bad movie at Netflix, you're like, oh dear, what's happening? However, I'm still holding on to The Babysitter. That was a Netflix original. I'm holding on to that.
Oh, that was good.
Life. Anyway, so written by Jason Rothwell, the story centers on a world's top assassin, Duncan Wiesla, played by Mikkelsen, aka the Black Kaiser. Who is settling into retirement when his former employer marks him as a liability to the firm. Against his will, he finds himself back in the game, going head-to-head with an army of younger, faster, ruthless killers who will stop at nothing to have him silenced. So it's Netflix's John Wick.
Pretty much.
But I'm not going to... I like Keanu Reeves. I kind of like the idea of Mads Mikkelsen in that role, though.
I do too. I like Mads Mikkelsen a lot more than I like Keanu Reeves.
He's a better actor. I don't know if I'd say I like him more. I wouldn't want Mads Mikkelsen in Speed, right?
Well, no, but
Keanu Reeves is better for Speed.
Sure, I can't argue with that.
And The Matrix, he's better for The Matrix than Mads Mikkelsen is.
Okay, Keanu Reeves is good at what he's good for. Don't get me wrong, but I'd still say, if I had to pick, I'm choosing Mads every time.
He's also a very nice person, from what I hear, Keanu, and he also has one of the most tragic lives in all of Hollywood. The poor bastard.
I can't argue with that.
I can't even begin, but I know almost every member of his family has been killed, if not murdered, in his life. It's actually insane. Kelsey Grammer comes close. He's a close second. He's had a lot of tragedy in his life with his family. But I don't know why I went into that. I just thought of it as we're talking about it.
Oh, well, let's drag the tone of this down.
Well, I just don't know. My mind went. Alright, so let's talk about dinosaurs then. Let's cheer ourselves up.
Oh yeah, that's much better.
So Jurassic World 3 has got a release date.
Already?
Universal have booked out June 11th, 2021 for Jurassic World 3. And it's got a writer as well, which I'll get to in a second. But, well, let's be honest here. The Jurassic World, surprisingly then, actually took down Avengers as the third highest grossing movie of all time. Which did show. I mean, I expected it to do well, but I thought it might.
No, it was a surprise. Yeah.
So we'll see how the second one does. But obviously, even if the second one does half of what the first one does, it'll still be
more than worth having a sequel to that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's coming 11th of June 2021. And I feel old that we're talking about 2021.
I'd say it's confidence in the second movie, but I don't think it's confidence when it's just a fact that it's going to make enough to justify a sequel.
So it's going to be co-written by Trevorrow again, who obviously co-wrote the first two, but also Emily Carmichael came on board to write it. So she was hired by Amblin in 2016 to write and direct the family action adventure Powerhouse, and she's also just co-written the upcoming Pacific Rim Uprising. So
maybe that's where I've seen it. I'm familiar with the name, but maybe it's just I've seen it on the Pacific Rim page or something.
Maybe. But hey, so Jurassic World 3. Whatever they're going to call it. This one is what? Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. So the next one will be Jurassic World. I don't know.
I think they go bigger. Jurassic Universe.
No. This is the Jurassic World trilogy. They'll save that for the new trilogy in 10 years. It'll be Jurassic World something.
10 years. That's ambitious. It's coming straight after this trilogy, and you know it.
To be fair, I thought I was being conservative there. I was thinking, these reboot cycles keep getting, quicker and quicker.
Yeah. I don't think they won't treat it as much as a reboot. They'll be like, well, we want a sequel, but this trilogy's over. But this is still making bank, so let's get the next one going.
It'll feel fresh, I think. Though I think they'll do something different after the third one.
I agree, but I don't think there'll be a break between them. I think it'll be another, 3 to 4 years.
Jurassic Land trilogy. That's what it'll be after.
Yeah, maybe.
Alright, so next up, Chris Mackay, who's supposed to be doing a Nightwing movie, by the way, just keep that in mind. Just to go back to that DC movie cycle nonsense, has actually been hired, or he's in negotiations rather, for a Dungeons and Dragons movie from Paramount. And it's coming from Allspark Pictures. Remember Allspark from the first Transformers? Remember that? That's what it's named after.
Vaguely, yeah.
Because they are doing all the Hasbro movies, and Dungeons and Dragons is owned by Hasbro. They've got Michael Gillio to write the script. But Chris Mackay's in talks for it, so... who's to say this might take him away from Nightwing, and then that means Nightwing loses a director? That's a possibility.
So, the sad truth is, I wouldn't be surprised. if it does, I'll be like, all right, okay, there goes another one.
Yep. Next up... So here's something that interests you a lot more than me. So there's some speculation here that Danny Boyle might direct the next James Bond.
Not my first choice, but
some of it's based on the fact that he did the Olympic opening ceremony a couple of years ago. He did a little bit with Daniel Craig.
That was like 20 seconds with Daniel Craig. I don't know if you ever watched it.
No. That's not the only reason why it's been speculated, but that's the genesis of it. That's there. There's more to it than that. Calm down.
Jesus Christ, that's it. That's thin.
Yeah, calm down. Stop jumping ahead. Let me finish the story. All right.
All right.
So Boyle had an idea for a very specific 007 movie, and his train spotting partner John Hodge have teamed up to work out the beats. So Hodge is working on a script, and if it gets picked up and MGM decide to go with it, then that'll be the next movie. They're comparing it to how Tarantino's kind of in line for a Star Trek movie right now, but it's not a done deal. But it could happen.
Okay, they'll want to pick up the pace if they want it to happen with Craig still.
Hodge won't be done for a couple of months, but when he turns in the script, one of two things will happen. This is coming from Deadline, who are doing all this kind of speculation here. MGM and the producers will likely, if they like it enough, they'll shelve the movie they were contemplating, because they already had scripts in the works for the next one. Which is from the writers of the most of the previous Craig movies, the ones doing that. And if they want to ditch that and go for the Trainspotting team, because I assume Boyle will only come on if it's him and his partner's script that are
probably
getting used. So that's what's happening. That's the buzz. I don't care because I don't give a shit about James Bond, but I put it in.
I'm always looking forward to the next James Bond movie, no matter what. I like Boyle well enough. I don't know if I'd necessarily need a James Bond movie from him, but I'd be intrigued to see it.
Next up, Kiersey Clemons has been cast in the Zorro film, simply titled Well, it'll be pronounced Z because obviously it's
but it's Z because
yeah, but
that's how language is.
It's Z. I'm firmly of the belief that if it comes from if it's a US title, it should be pronounced Z because that's the point.
I get that, but I will never say it like that.
Oh, so you walk around talking about JZ then? Is that what you do?
I don't ever mention his name because I have no need to talk about that man.
But say his name. What would you call him?
I don't know. Whatever his actual name is.
You don't know his actual name. Go on.
No, I don't. But if I wanted to talk about it, I'd find out.
Say Jay-Z.
No, I will not give you the satisfaction.
Go on, do it. You know I'm right. There's also certain acronyms that you have to say the Z because that's what makes it work. You know, that's what makes it flow.
Really?
Yeah, there is. Absolutely is.
I can't think of any acronyms with a Z in it.
Honestly, I think in terms of acronyms, Z typically works better. If I'm saying the letter though, Z's, it's Z.
Yeah, definitely.
But hey, anyway, so it's a Zorro film called Z, and interestingly, this article says the Flash's Kiersey Clemens. Interesting to credit her for a movie that's maybe never going to happen at this point.
Yeah, that is an interesting choice.
I mean, Flashpoint will probably happen, but will Iris West even still be in it? I don't know. Who knows?
I'll be honest, I forgot she was even cast as that because that was a while ago.
That was
I expect things to change.
That was a long time ago when she was supposed to have a scene in Justice League. That's how long ago that is. But it'll be written and directed by Jonas Caron, and that's coming. So Z reimagines the classic legend based on the beloved mass swashbuckler, and it's set in the near future. So it's a futuristic Zorro. That's what this is.
Fine.
She's been cast in it. So there you go. Quick update on that. Next up, Netflix has signed an exclusive deal for the next 4 movies from the Duplass brothers. This comes after, of course, they actually bought the VOD rights to Creep 2, Blue Jay, and Take Me. So the next 4 films are going to be Netflix exclusives, Netflix originals.
Okay. I like them. I like Creep a lot. I haven't seen Creep 2 yet.
Creep 2 is pretty good. The first film will be a comedic drama starring Ray Romano and Mark Duplass. Yeah, shocked that Mark Duplass is in it. He's probably going to be in all 4 of them. But
probably.
That's what's happening. But I thought that was worth mentioning because they do some good stuff occasionally.
They do, and they're really good on a low budget.
Yeah. Really good on a low budget. Creep 1 and 2 are both ridiculously low budget, and they knocked out pretty good little movies out of that.
Hey,
Next up,
they saved found footage.
Sorry?
Creep saved found footage movies for me. At a time where I was like, I don't want any more.
I don't know if I'd say saved. I still don't care about other found footage movies, but yeah, they made good found
footage movies. It was a point
movies.
where I'd written the genre off entirely, where I was like, no, I'm done. No more. And then I watched that and I was like, all right, I guess you can still make good ones.
Yeah, okay. All right, next up we had a film called White Plastic Sky. Tibor Banitsky and Saralta Zebo. Very European names there. Forgive my pronunciation as always. But the duo behind a couple of shorts, Les Concurrents and Leftover, they're going to make their feature debut. It's an animated film. It's an ecology-themed dystopian animated film called White Plastic Sky. Now in pre-production, White Plastic Sky takes place in Budapest in 2220. I had to think about how to say that year. I was used to saying 20 to start with. 2220. Did I say 2220? That's too long.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, 2220. The soil of the earth hasn't been fertile for 100 years, causing the extinction of wildlife. In Budapest, the survivors are sheltered in a large bubble that protects them from the ultraviolet light and pollution. The future of humanity relies on a mysterious plant created from genetic experiments that people must absorb by the age of 50, leading them to transform themselves into plants. A little Logan's Run there. Not quite, but I can see some comparisons. The story is told through the lives of a young couple named Stefan and Nora, who are grieving the loss of their son. So, I actually kind of like the sound of that plot.
I do as well. That sounds alright.
It's interesting. The reason why I compared it to Logan's Run is because Logan's Run is an underground society in the future, and to basically save on resources, by law you are killed when you hit 30. That's the premise of the movie. So obviously 2 people who are about to hit 30 go on the run. That's
Obviously.
It's a bit dated, but it's a fun movie. It suffers because it came out like I think the same year as the first Star Wars, and Star Wars was like groundbreaking. Look at all this stuff we're doing, and Logan's Run was like classic sci-fi. It's like yeah, but it's still kind of fun.
Yeah, but no one wanted that year.
No one wanted that year. It's the same reason. I mean, I like E.T., but I begrudge it because The Thing suffered at the box office because E.T. wanted, everyone wanted a nice family-friendly science fiction film, and The Thing's like bombing at the box office, even though it's the superior film.
I agree with that, yeah.
Alright, next up we have Anne Hathaway is in negotiations for a film called The Last Thing He Wanted, which is from the director of Mudbound, D. Reyes. It's a political thriller. It is based on a novel from 1996 by Joan Didion. Marco Villalobos wrote the transfer script, which will see Hathaway as a woman alone and unrelenting in a race against time. At the tipping point of the Iran-Contra affairs arms for drugs plot, hardscrabble journalist Elena McMahon finds herself on a dangerous ground when she abandons coverage of the 1984 presidential campaign to fulfill her bedridden father's last wish. Not subjects that I particularly get interested in, I have to admit.
No, but I mean, it could be good. People seem to like Mudbound.
Yeah, I've not seen Mudbound yet, but it does have some buzz. So that's one where the talent's the interesting part. I mean, it could be a very good story, of course, once it gets going. But
yeah, but not inherently grabbing.
Yeah. Do you remember Cowboy Ninja Viking?
How can I forget?
Yeah, well, it's getting a rewrite. Eric Pearson's been hired to rewrite the film. He worked on Thor Ragnarok, so...
Well, all I'm saying is good. They're treating it with the respect it deserves. This is a premise where we're going to do this right.
Okay. With that, though, it's halftime trailer talk.
Oh, cool.
So Connor's music that he promised 7 weeks ago should be playing right about now.
I told you, I'm working on a film. That's coming after.
This film's been in production longer than Avatar 2 at this point.
Yeah, well, it's paying me more than you are, so...
So... I bet Avatar 2 would pay you more.
I should bloody hope so.
James Cameron's been given like $5 billion to make another 4 Avatar movies. So first up, we have a trailer called Yardie, which is Idris Elba's film. He directed it, and it's a crime film about a Jamaican immigrant who goes to London to be part of the crime family, and gangster stuff happens. If it sounds like, I mean, I think it looks fine from a directorial point of view. I'm just not that interested in gangster stories all that much.
No, I agree. I was watching this going, it looks fine. I probably won't see it. Then it came up at the end saying, from Idris Elba. I was like, maybe I'll check it out just out of curiosity, see what he can do behind the camera.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like he's the reason why I'm really interested. I mean, it looks like it's got style, which so that's cool.
Yeah.
But crime, family stuff, and I'm not particularly into it.
It's not inherently interesting to me. I'm not big on those sorts of movies.
Obviously, there's examples where it's great, and obviously Idris Elba is known for originally for starring in The Wire, which is all about crime. But that is a fantastic show. So obviously, quality, like if the quality is high enough, I don't care what it's about. It's just that good. But yeah. So that's Yardie. Next up, we had a trailer for On Chesil Beach, which is a soppy romance with well, it starts off as a soppy romance. It goes down a direction I wasn't necessarily quite expecting, because at first I was thinking, this is just the rich girl and the poor boy, and her parents are really dismissive of like, he's working class, get a better, you can do better than this daughter.
Yeah.
And you've got Saoirse Ronan and you've got Eddie Redmayne, who seems to always be in these types of movies where it's piano over the trailer, it's very sad and soppy. So I'm not inherently interested in this one either. This does not look like my type of movie.
Not me either.
The plot seemed to twist a little bit, where it seemed to become about her insecurities and not wanting to have sex as the trailer went on.
It did, yeah.
And then him getting kind of angry about this, even though he's married her. So it seemed like it might take a darker turn with that, or it might be, I don't know, more of a journey of discovery and yeah. So I see this appealing to a very particular group of people. The people who like movies that have trailers like this. But as soon as the trailer started and I heard the piano music and I heard her narration, I went,
I know what this is.
I know what this is, and I know I'm already not interested.
Yeah.
But it's got some names in it, so I finished the trailer and we mentioned it.
It's probably fine. It's probably good if you like these sorts of movies, but no interest.
Yeah, it's that same sappy thing. It's like, remember that one, what's her face from Amelia Clark? I think it was Amelia Clark, and she fell in love with the guy in the
Me Before
wheelchair.
You.
There you go. Yeah, so that's that sort of trailer.
I know that because my girlfriend loves that film. Watched it like 5 times, and then went and came home and bought the book. So I've seen that movie, not out of choice. It's boring.
It looked boring from the trailer. So yeah, it just looks very, very dry. Like, I was gasping for liquids just watching the trailer. That's how dry this looks. Next up, we had a trailer for a film called Kings, which is set in 1992, and it's Halle Berry, who seems to take in kids who need looking after. And it seems to revolve around the riots that happened as a result of the Rodney King violence that happened. There was police brutality, and then when they were found to be free, rioting happened in the streets as a result, as a sort of backlash to that. But it seems to focus it from this perspective of her and her kids trying to take care of them. Then she's got a neighbour. Daniel Craig just happens to be the neighbour across the alleyway.
He's moving into that sort of role.
Yeah, he's getting older, which is maybe what you meant by saying that.
To be fair, when it was at the BAFTAs last week, he's presenting something. Yeah, not looking his best.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, a little bit puffy in the face.
Hey ho. Yeah. Maybe they do have to get that Bond movie going.
Get
sooner.
going.
Sooner, maybe he'll bulk up though. He'll
get back on the diet.
Maybe he was doing a movie where he had to be a bit of a.
He might be. I don't keep up with him that much to know.
That's the thing with Christian Bale, is that he'll just dash around from weight type to weight type depending on the movie. He goes from skinny
as well
to fat to muscly to he just does everything. It's insane. I have no idea how I feel about this trailer. I don't think it looks bad.
Again, this is one of those where it looks alright, it looks competently made. I don't know if I'm going to enjoy the movie.
I mean, Halle Berry tends to be pretty rough in terms of her acting.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, it didn't seem that bad in this trailer, but obviously the trailer's edited to show all the best bits. So
yeah. But I feel like, okay, she's the anchoring performance, doesn't necessarily fill me with confidence.
This is continuing a trend of trailers that aren't necessarily bad, but aren't necessarily that interesting this week. So, I mean, hopefully the next two we've got break that trend. We'll see. But yeah, so Kings, it looks like you're going to grow attached to these kids, and then some of the kids are going to maybe get involved in the riot, and it looks like it's going to maybe get violent towards the end of the film. You're getting that kind of vibe. Like I say, it looks competent, but nothing about the premise necessarily excites me that much in of itself.
It's not jumping at me going, oh, you want to go see this? I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll catch it someday.
That's it. Out of the three so far, this is the one that I'm most likely to enjoy. And I think it's the one where if I hear people are saying it's really good, then okay, right. It's the one
yeah, that's fair.
I expect it the most to be the one that stands out, but I mean, I could be wrong. Yeah. Next up, we got a trailer for Ishmael's Ghosts, which is a foreign film. And you got Marion Cotillard in it, and you got what's her face, Charlotte Gainsbourg, who I think of Antichrist whenever I see her, which fills me with lots of unpleasant thoughts. If you've seen Antichrist, you'll know what I mean by that.
I've seen the bit I need to see.
It definitely was a bit, yes.
Yeah. Anyone who knows that this is no more needs to be said.
Yeah. So this is a film where Charlotte Gainsbourg, meets this guy Ishmael, and they hit it off. And he brings up after they've been getting to know each other. Oh, by the way, I am technically married, but I've not seen her in 20 years. She's been missing. We never officially got divorced, but I mean,
yeah, she just left by the sounds of it.
And then that being Cotillard, she shows up and she's like, "Hey, you're my husband," and it seems to be a sort of drama with maybe a hint of a thriller where she kind of comes in and tries to basically take her husband back, even though she's been gone for 20 years, and she might be mildly psychotic. Judging from the trailer, it's hard to tell exactly because it's got it's almost a more light-hearted trailer, like the tone, than I would think it would be given the premise.
No, I know what you're saying.
It's almost played for an awkward drama.
It's almost played towards rom-com territory.
Almost. But
not quite. It's just a little bit off, but it's in that direction.
But you feel like it could turn really dark in the movie itself.
Yeah.
By the end, she could be Fatal Attractions level of nuts.
Definitely.
That's possible, but yeah. So I mean,
Yeah, I thought again, it looks all right.
it looks alright. Yeah, it's a weird week. There's not a lot. It's because
It's because they all gave them last week for,
yeah,
for Super Bowl.
we had all the juicy trailers, yeah, over the last couple of weeks. So we're getting the just what's left over this week. But that does lead us on to the final trailer.
Always save the best for last, right?
I saved the wacky one for last. Typically, I almost put in. I saw before I watched it. I saw a title for a trailer called Jurassic Dead about a zombie T-Rex, and I thought, oh, that's going to be my joke trailer at the end. And then I watched it, and there was hardly any footage in it. I thought, nah, I'll have nothing to say about it.
And then you found this.
That's because I already had this. This was top billing, and then when I didn't get anything else, I put this to the end as the uplifting joke at the. So this Best Friends is Tommy Wiseau and Greg. What's his face? I want to say Sinestro, but I think that's just my DC love. Sestero, there you go. But it's them in a movie, and at first I thought, is this like them doing like a based on a true story thing, like about them? And then it gets like really dark at one point. I'm like, oh no, this is just a fictional thing with them two in the roles. And it looks like a movie. It looks more like a movie than the room does.
Doesn't look bad. Like, it genuinely doesn't.
Well, I mean, Tommy Wiseau still being Tommy Wiseau.
All right, yeah, okay, but take that out, and I'll go. This has potential.
Okay. It seems like he gets jealous that Greg has a girlfriend at one point. That's which was part of the disaster artist as well, to be fair. But that seems to be something that happens here, and she looks all evil at him.
I did find it amusing that they went from the writer of the disaster artist. No mentioning of that other thing.
My favourite part of the trailer, though, that made me go, "Oh, this is Tommy with his ego and over his head," is at the end of the trailer. After it, because it ends in this moment where the door's open to reveal someone. We don't quite see who it is, and it cuts to black, and it comes up, "Best Friends," and then it comes up saying, "Presented in 2 volumes."
I know.
And I went, "You're not Quentin Tarantino, Tommy. Stop it! Stop it!"
They're coming out pretty close to each other as well.
Madness. This is Tommy like just hoping that all his hardcore fans who like him ironically go to both showings to make more money. This is what he hopes.
Well, I mean, this is the thing. The Room has to have made him a shit ton by now.
Oh, by now, absolutely, yeah.
Obviously not at the time, but by now.
That tours the planet doing showings,
and they're always sold out.
Yeah, people go and throw spoons at the screen. That's a big thing.
So, is this? I don't know if this is supposed to be. Okay, is this a serious attempt again? It's like, all right, yeah, okay. We got. Money.
It doesn't look like it's intentionally trying to be funny from the trailer.
It doesn't.
And it doesn't look as terrible as The Room on a sort of objective level, even though The Room's fantastic to watch. But
this, looks like a real movie.
But it may be boring because of it, because it's just going to be a mediocre movie that happens to have Tommy Wiseau and Greg Sestero on it. But
I have no idea.
Check out the trailer for Best Friends.
Easily the highlight of the trailers.
Easily.
And unfortunately, which is it's sad.
And I love how Tommy's still wearing the same clothes, and he's still, got his sunglasses on. He's doing the same thing.
Yeah, it does look noticeably older though.
Well, it's been 15, 16 years, so
It has. But there are some people who can go through that.
He claimed he was 21 when he made The Room, but we knew it was older than that.
Yeah.
So
that's the point.
Hey, so back onto the general news. Next up, Netflix is closing a deal for Life Sentence, which is a short story by Matthew Baker, with the intention of making it into a feature film. Matt Reeves' company is going to produce it. So Matt Reeves is a producer on this. Not director, he's not been stolen from Batman yet.
What Batman?
Yeah. So basically his production company had like a deal with Fox, and they made two Apes movies there, but now his company's moved to Netflix, meaning that anything his company produces will be Netflix content for the next while. What's interesting here is that this is a 6-figure deal. A 7-figure deal, which. Actually, no. Let me rephrase that. This is a 6-figure deal at the moment. If the film gets made, it turns into a 7-figure deal. So it'll probably be a 7-figure deal. They say it's very likely, given that there was several bidders. There was 8 bidders between Amazon, Warner Brothers, Universal, Netflix themselves. Interestingly, because Netflix is still going to have their hands on it. MWM Studios, Fox 2000, New Regency, and Gaumont all had their bidding, and then a ninth bidder at the last minute came in. Apple wanted their hands on it.
Of course they did.
So this was hotly sought after content. They wanted the rights to this short story. So they wanted a TV show with it though, rather than a movie. This is the third sci-fi short story that what's his face, Matthew Baker, who did the short story Life Sentence. This is his third short story that has been sold off to Hollywood in some way. His first, called Transition, sold to Amazon in a bidding war. Noah Hawley's producing that, who of course we like from Legion, Fargo, etc. The second story, The Apprentice, was sold to Make Ready Studios as well. So he's got multiple things coming from him in the works.
Dude's raking it in for short stories.
So, Life Sentence is about a futuristic program where the memories of criminals are erased instead of sending them to prison. The story focuses on one such man who finds himself trying to reconcile his past actions and relationships. Sounds like fun.
I can see this being good.
Yeah.
I can see, the ideas of, will they still commit crimes again because that's who they are.
Oh no, surely the twist has to be that he was not a criminal and he was set up.
Yeah.
Surely that's the twist, that he finds out he wasn't really a criminal.
No, quite possibly.
If not, that's a sequel.
Yeah, ripe for ideas, though, that premise.
Absolutely. So that sounds pretty cool. I thought it was just a really cool sci-fi premise, and then the fact that, it was this bidding war means that they really cared about this. So let's hope their original movie streak can end and we get some good movies out of them. Next up, Lupita Nyong'o has been cast in Born a Crime. It is an adaptation of Daily Show host Trevor Noah's best-selling autobiography, which was called Born a Crime, The Stories from a South African Childhood. I had no idea his life was so interesting. I'd heard that he'd replaced Stewart on The Daily Show, but I didn't know about him.
I was a fan of his stand-up before that.
Yeah, I didn't even know who he was. But apparently he's had an eventful life, because here's the description of her character. Nyong'o will play Noah's mum, Patricia, who served as an important figure to her son in his formative years. She was shot in the head by his stepfather while returning from church service in 2009, but survived.
Damn.
It takes a special kind of badass to be shot in the head and survive, I think. So
it does.
Yeah. And obviously,
especially when you say head and not just like the face. If you say shot in the I go, all right, you were shot in the cheek. But shot in the head, that implies more serious things.
Yeah, because shot in the face is a cakewalk.
I'm not saying it's a cakewalk. I'm saying if you tell me shot in the face and survived, I assume you were shot in the cheek. You can survive that, no problem.
And of course, she was just in Black Panther, which and actually, I don't know if you agreed with this statement on Black Panther, but that all the cast were fantastic. And not that the cast was bad in this case, but just the character that Kalia was playing, it was really thin, but everyone else was really good.
I have no problems with any of the cast.
Yeah.
In terms
Obviously,
of
Kalia himself is a good actor. Just the character was.
I have a couple of character quibbles, but all the acting's fine.
Do you not like M'Baku? Because Matt loves him.
I have problems with M'Baku at the end of the movie. I really like him at the start, but the third act with M'Baku, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, Matt changed his Twitter name to Matt Baku.
Of course he did.
Because he's connected so much with M'Baku. I don't know. Obviously, everyone's loving the sister, though. Everyone's digging the sister.
Oh, yeah, obviously. She's a lot of fun.
She's good. I thought all the ladies were good, actually. It has a really nice... It's a really good trio of strong female leads in the movie.
I can't complain. Like I said, I had some character quibbles here and there, but all the acting is fantastic.
Yeah, but obviously that's what's on my mind with Lupita, just because we just saw
her there last week.
Yeah. So next up, Global Road Entertainment has acquired the North American distribution rights to Hotel Artemis, which we don't really care about that much necessarily. Whoever's got the rights has got the rights. However, I'd never heard of this movie before, and it's got quite a cast, which I thought was worth pointing out.
Yeah, I don't know what this is, so.
Yeah, apparently this cost $4 million for them to buy and get the rights for. It's a kinetic, stylish action thriller, written and directed by Drew Pearce. So here's the cast: Jodie Foster, Sterling K. Brown, who's also in Black Panther. Most people know him for This Is Us, though. Of course, he's in that. He's one of the main characters. Sophia Boutella, who of course was in the Kingsman movie and was recently in The Mummy. Jeff Goldblum, who needs no introduction.
Yeah, exactly.
Brian Tyree Henry, I don't know who that is, so I'm not going to tell you. Jenny Slate, who this is the name, she's obviously in Parks and Rec and stuff. Zachary Quinto, Heroes and your Star Trek movies. Charlie Day, It's Always Sunny, Pacific Rim. And then Dave Bautista.
Okay.
So that's a lot of recognisable names.
That is
on the
a
list.
lot of names. Expensive movie.
Yeah. The film is set in a riot-torn near-future Los Angeles. Screenwriter Pierce's directorial debut. So he's writing and directing. This is his first time directing. He's previously written scripts for Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation and Iron Man 3.
Yeah, that's not bad credits.
The premise we got for it is the film follows a nurse played by Foster who runs a secret members-only emergency room for criminals, and it's set in the future. So
sounds good. Which one was Rogue Nation?
As the fifth one.
Okay.
So not the best in the series, but pretty decent.
Yeah, I can never remember which is which.
But I do like Iron Man 3 a lot. So
I just heard the best of the Iron Mans.
I don't think it's the best of Iron Mans. I agree with that. The Mandarin sucks anyway, so it's okay they made a joke out of him. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the fact that section's going crazy now.
The fact that the nurse is the main character, Foster's character, implies to me that it's going to mostly be set at this. Like I'm getting the feeling like she's treating someone, then like a rival assassin or something like shows up and like all shit
I
goes
can
down.
see some of those names just being almost like guests in and out.
Oh sure,
it's
yeah.
a treat, and then we won't see
absolutely.
them much again.
Yeah. Next up, Thunder Road Pictures has acquired the film rights to Matthew Betley's novel, Overwatch, which is a feature-length film. It's going to be about Felicity Smoke, the character from the hit television show
Really?
Arrow.
That's where you go with Overwatch. You don't go to the game.
If I was going to go to Overwatch with a game, I'd go to XCOM. I think of XCOM when I hear Overwatch.
Oh, okay.
Because I go into Overwatch in that game.
No, I get it.
I do not care about your stupid multiplayer game. Thank you.
I don't play it. I don't. I'm just saying it's so huge that it's the first thing my mind goes to.
Nah, legitimately the first thing I think of is Overwatch and XCOM.
It says a lot about us, doesn't it?
Well, I play that game a lot, and so I'm constantly Overwatching. That's what I do a lot in that game.
That's true.
Never played Overwatch, the game.
And
I thought
I played it on a free weekend once. It's fine.
And I made a joke about Felicity, because, why not?
Yeah.
But yeah, so Betley, so it's a J.P. Davis going to adapt the thriller. Betley, a former Marine, writes intense, high-action thrillers that centre on the adventures of a former Marine Corps Force reconnaissance officer, Logan West. And now I'm thinking of Dead Rising, because I'm thinking of Frank West. In the latest novel, West impulsively answers a dead man's ringing phone, triggering a global race against the clock to track down an unknown organisation searching for an Iraqi artefact that is central to a planned attack in the Middle East, one that will draw the US into a major conflict with Iran.
Yeah, I got no interest.
Yeah, I don't care about that at all.
I also know that it said in the latest book, so they're just picking one from the series and going, that one I'll do.
Yeah, which implies to me they could probably just go back to an older book and just do that as a sequel if they want to. It's just, it happened in this order in the movies, who cares?
Yeah. I mean, they did with James Bond.
Yeah, sounds right. I mean, I wouldn't have known that, but it sounds reasonable.
I mean, Casino Royale was the first book.
Oh, sure. Yeah, but they kind of rebooted with...
Well, yeah, but that was never the first movie, was it? Is my point.
Well, it kind of was.
Not originally.
It wasn't... Yeah, they made a Casino Royale movie before.
The TV movie doesn't count.
I'm just saying, they did that first.
That was a separate production company. Like, it was completely separate.
So who gives a shit? They did it first.
I do.
They made it first.
No, doesn't count.
Oh, so there's the Connery one when he came back and remade Thunderball. Does that not count?
No.
It does.
Not really.
Alright, next up. Amazon has acquired something. 7-figure deal. So it is the Alistair Burke novel, The Wife. And they're going to turn it into a movie. Angela, a woman who suffered extreme trauma in her teen years, learns that her celebrity husband may be a sexual predator. That sounds completely believable now. It sounds like, oh yeah, this is just news from last year.
That's sad that's just accurate.
Yeah. Jason Paul is a handsome NYU professor whose book is on socially conscious investing called Equalonomics. It's a made-up word, so I'm not.
I would say equalonomics because it's supposed to be a play on economics, right?
Yeah.
So equalonomics.
Yeah, but that O in there kind of makes me feel like there should be an extra syllable.
Okay, I'm not seeing it, so I'm
Equalonomics. Equalonomics.
No, that's wrong. Equalonomics. I don't like this word.
It's a made-up word for a book.
I know, but
it's a bestseller, is the point. He runs a successful consulting firm and hosts a top-rated podcast that has enabled Angela and her husband to live the idyllic life with their son in Greenwich Village. Then his intern files a complaint with the NYPD.
Sorry, did you say Greenwich?
Yeah.
Greenwich.
Greenwich? Okay, sure. Well, why is it spelled like green then?
Just is.
It's got 2 E's. It's not my fault it's not obeying the rules of the English language.
It just is.
Whatever. So NYPD special... See, you've thrown me off now. Why did you have to interrupt me? How dare you? The NYPD Special Victims Unit claiming that he made an inappropriate sexual suggestion at the office. A second alleged victim surfaces and soon there is a murder and Angela has to confront past personal trauma that she thought she was far in the review mirror. So obviously super topical. That's obviously why they want to make this right now. But there you go. So Amazon Studios won the book rights in a bidding war. It does not give me the details that the other one did, the Netflix one. Or not Netflix, but the company who's making it won it, and then they're making it in Netflix. But hey, so another bidding war. So next up we have another got the rights to a book. Freefall in this case. This is very preemptive though, because the book's not even published till 2019.
Oh boy!
But they're
Who's
swooping
the
in. Who's the author? Jessica Barry is the author. So Brad Weston's Make Ready is the company that's got the rights to it. Freefall opens with the catastrophic crash of a small passenger aircraft deep in the Colorado Rockies. The only survivor is a woman who must fight her way back to her mother before the person she is running from gets there first. Well, that's an interesting twist on it. I thought it was going to be a survival thing. She has to, get to civilization, from the wreckage.
Yeah.
The novel uses a propulsive plot to explore the relationships women have with their men, not their men, sorry, with men, their mothers. That's where I was getting there from. I wasn't just saying their men. Right. With men, their mothers, their daughters, and themselves, as the heroine struggles to survive the unimaginable obstacles to reclaim her own life. The part that someone else is sort of racing her back to her mother is what really interests me there.
Yeah, other than that, I'd say it sounds kind of generic.
Yeah, because part of me thinks, okay, she has to beat someone else to her mother, and she thinks she's in the clear because she's on the plane, and the other person's maybe not got a flight yet, or they're going by road or whatever, and then the plane crashes, and all I can think is that is the worst luck. Yeah. That is the worst. You're going to save your mother's life or whatever you're doing. You have to get there for, and your plane crashes. That is just the worst luck.
Definitely. There's potential in this.
Yeah, it sounds okay. But that takes us on to the horror section.
Oh, cool.
On to the horror movie. I told you I was going to be shorter. Alright, so first up in the horror section, we have Jessica Chastain is in talks to join the sequel to It.
What a surprise.
AKA It Chapter 2, I think is what they're going to be calling it. But this is so expected because she's expressed interest, the director's expressed an interest in having her.
It was the obvious fan casting.
It was, and to be fair, that's not to say that the obvious fan casting always happens, but
but it always makes it very unsurprising if it does.
But here's the other thing I did not know, that they even had this idea before, and they actually had a plan to do a little almost like a post-credit Marvel style tease of the second movie, where Jessica Chastain playing Beverly gets a message saying that Pennywise is back, 27 years later. So
okay.
So they even had the idea. I don't think they ever actually reached out to her during the first film. I think they just scrapped it for whatever reason. But even during the first film, that was an idea. Was Jessica
she was in mind.
Yeah. So obviously Matt is jumping for joy over this news because he loves Chastain.
Yeah, with good reason.
Yeah.
I'm with him on this one.
I like her a lot, but I don't have this unhealthy infatuation with her.
I don't have an obsession, no, but not to Matt's level.
Yeah, having the redheads.
I'm still concerned about It sequel. I'm very.
I'm concerned. I don't think the director's particularly good. I think the first movie's pretty enjoyable because the kids stuff is really good, but the horror stuff was the lacking part. So taking away the kids and giving them the adults in the second movie makes me think, well, unless the adults end up being likable again,
Yeah, yeah.
So
But this is the problem from the book. The adults are inherently not likable. That's kind of the point, is that they've kind of grown
mm,
apart, grown, yeah, they kind of have to find
hence
themselves as children again.
hence why it jumps between the two, because
Right.
you get
And
to go back and forth.
a lot of the third act of the book is cut in between them. It's because, they're doing the same things again, essentially. That's kind of the point.
So it might feel repetitive in the second movie because it's a separate
Yeah.
thing.
So
Yeah.
I'm really concerned about this as a separate sequel. It feels like this is gonna be rough.
I feel like they're going to change enough of it so that it works as its own story. That's the plan.
They're
I
gonna
think,
have to,
anyway. Yeah. They'll obviously. I mean, the basic premise of Pennywise is back now that we're adults and we have our own kids. That'll be the basic premise, sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, from there, I'm sure they'll just do other things. All right, so here's just another little tidbit. This could have went next after the box office to connect to that, but it's horror related, so I felt like I'll put it in here.
Well then.
So obviously, horror's actually been having quite a good time the last year or so, because Split made a lot of money, Get Out made a lot of money, got obviously nominated for awards, and then it made like a shit ton of money. It made $700 million. So. The news I've got here is that, is this good trend continuing into 2018? Obviously not as much as it, but still pretty good and kind of surprising because it's easily the weakest film in the franchise. Insidious: The Last Key has now made more money than any of the other films in the series. It is the highest grossing, which, and I felt like there was no buzz. I felt like no one was talking about it, other than me and Tim, because we were talking about it for the show. But I felt like there was no one talking about this movie. And it has outgrossed the other three films. For the record, Insidious 1 made 97. This is worldwide, by the way, right? Just for the record. 'Cause obviously, horror movies make less money typically. That's why 700 for it was like freaking
staggering,
silly. Because they're typically lower budget, so they don't have to make as much money, and that's why
they'll often still make 10 times their budget.
Yeah,
a good one.
So Insidious 1 made 97 million worldwide. Insidious 2 made 161.9. So that's a nice increase from the first one. The third one went down to 113 million, but still pretty good for a low-budget horror. And Insidious: The Last Key is on 164.4 million. It might trickle up a little bit more, but I mean, it's it's about done.
Basically done. Yeah.
So it's not a huge difference, but the fact that it went above 3 again and then went above the highest one is kind of notable. People like horror movies.
It's surprising. This is the first one I didn't see in the cinema because Showtime's just weren't lining up for me.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to watch it still because I really like that franchise. I remember there being a lot of buzz for the first one in particular. And I feel like the second one, obviously that's done higher by the case of, okay, people caught up with it at home release. So then went in for the second one. So I'm not sure quite why this one's gone back up. 3, I guess, that was the prequel. People weren't as inherently interested, so they kind of just didn't go to that as much.
Yeah. And for the record, my ranking of them, the first one's first, then the third one, and then 2, and then Last Key's last.
Having not seen the newest one, I agree with the other 3 though.
You'll probably agree.
Okay.
I'm fairly confident you're going
to be fair, we're pretty in line on that franchise.
Yeah. Tim, I think, is the same way as well. He's got the exact same ranking. It's not terrible, it's watchable, but it's definitely the weakest one. It definitely has a lot of weaker elements. It doesn't feel as polished. But hey, so that'll take us on to our last news story of the week. And Lindsay Lohan is going to be in another horror movie. I love how this article starts with, "I know who killed me," star Lindsay Lohan.
Topical.
So it's called The Shadow Within, and it also stars Charlotte Beckett and Gianni Capaldi. So here's the synopsis for this. In a world where supernatural creatures roam amongst us, Kirsty Wolf, played by Beckett. So Lohan's not even the main character. She's just in it. I don't know who she's playing. It doesn't even mention her in the description.
That's a good character name, though.
Kirsty Wolf. Kirsty Wolf. It's a bit on the nose, as you'll see in a minute.
I can guess.
A tough private investigator, she tries desperately to keep her secrets hidden. She has descended from a long line of werewolves. When her uncle is brutally murdered, Wolf must use her natural instincts and risk her secret to unravel the mystery before she becomes the next victim.
Sounds all right. I'll defend the naming because there's always the really on the nose naming. This is one of those where, okay, so she's from a family of werewolves, so they've called their family name after it. You know how the surname Baker will be okay because they were a Baker. Smith, well, okay, they were a Smith. This is we're werewolves. All right, fine. That's our family name.
I'll dispute it because those are occupations. This is the race.
They went with it anyway.
Okay. Okay. But no, so that's the thing that's happening. I have no idea if it's going to be anything good or just some garbage that's, because, I mean, Lindsay Lohan Bennett does not mean it's going to be anything at all.
No, I doubt she costs much these days.
Yeah, her career's at a point where this could be like, your bottom tier shoveled on Amazon Prime stuff,
Oh, there's a lot of shit on there.
There is a lot of shit on there. So that is actually the news, which leads us to a little section here where we talk about films we watched this week, not including ones that were for review purposes, because obviously we have reviews up for those, or they will be coming up. I actually don't have any this week, and I have a reason for that. I started streaming this week on Twitch, playing video games, because I've not done that in a while, and I've had a few of our regular viewers actually have been joining and chatting away to me about movies, comic books, whatever. So I've been playing a lot of games this week. Therefore, I have not watched any movies. I mean, I watched a few movies, but they were all for review.
Yeah.
So
a shame.
I don't have any. This is going to happen some weeks. Look, we have so much we do for review purposes that some weeks I'm just not going to watch anymore. Like some weeks I want to play games, or I want to read old comics, or I want to whatever else I do with my time. Catch up on some TV shows, because how often do I watch a TV show that's not something we're doing for review? Very rarely.
Literally, the only thing I watch that's not for review is Star Wars Rebels, and then I'll occasionally have a sitcom on, while I'm eating dinner.
Occasionally a sitcom. I still intend to go back and watching the rest of Season 3 of iZombie. Season 4's coming up. I want to watch Speechless at some point. I want to watch The Good Place. I've heard good things. I had people nagging me to watch that.
No, that's pretty good.
So, I've got things to do. I've been playing games this week. That's what I've been doing. But there's actually Male Fuzz TV on Twitch. That's the name of the channel. So if you want to go find it, if you're interested.
I really thought you were going to plug that earlier when you were talking about XCOM. Seeing as you've been playing a lot of XCOM.
That's what I've been playing, yeah. And I actually got the expansion today, so there'll be a lot more playing on XCOM too.
Oh, okay. You splashed out.
I splashed out.
Not waiting for the sale.
It was relatively on sale. I found it at a reasonable price.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Cheaper than I've seen it before, anyway, certainly.
So you then, screw it, I'm getting it.
Because the last Steam sale, it was only like a little bit off. It was still, it was like 15-20%.
This is basically you going, I got some spare cash.
Whereas this was like more like 35%. So I took the plunge.
Yeah, that's not bad.
But anyway, what are we talking about? We're talking about games here. Come on. What did you watch?
I watched a bunch, but I'm just...
Yeah, you've got like 6. I'm gonna go to sleep. You just wake me up when you're done.
All right. Well, I'm gonna start with something I did watch a couple of weeks ago, but I didn't talk about because we were going to review it, and then Peter decided he couldn't be asked to watch it.
I didn't want to. I'll talk out of the mic. That's a good idea.
Be professional.
I didn't want to see The Darkest Hour. Okay, I knew looking at it, it was just not going to be my type of film. It was going to be dry biopic, and then you came back from seeing it and said, "Oh, it's more about the infighting of the Tories," and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sleep. It's fine.
It surprised me because the trailers sold me it was going to be like a war movie from Churchill's perspective, obviously, but it was going to be about like the war mostly, and it's not. That's obviously a driving topic, of course, but a lot of it is the political maneuvering, and I love that sort of stuff. There is a scene at the end which throws historical accuracy out the window. It just has a completely made up scenario.
Oh, is it the end of Inglourious Basterds where they kill Hitler?
No, not quite. It's a scene on the tube, or the subway for the Americans, where he goes down and he has a conversation with the public on the tube, and it's inspired by events where he'd just show up around London and ask the public their opinion on things, but this was a little bit different to that. But it's fine. I enjoyed it anyway.
I still like call it the subway, I think.
But it's the tube.
Yeah, but you'd only call the tube if it's like London, right? You don't.
Yeah, but it is in London.
Yeah, but no, I'm saying you wouldn't call the subway anywhere else the tube.
No, but this one was.
I'm just clarifying. So... All right, okay.
No, I wouldn't go to a like. New York and say I'm getting on the tube.
No, but not even like I mean, obviously anywhere. Like you wouldn't go to Germany and be like, "That's the tube." You'd be no, that's the subway.
No, I mean, they probably have a German name for it, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's only the tube if it's specifically talking about London.
It is, yes.
Right. Cool.
I
Right.
just thought I'd clarify because I don't know how common that is, if people are just aware of that or if they just still think of it as a subway.
You're a tube. Right. What's next?
All right, what is next? I followed this up with another biopic this week. Was the first thing because I did Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman, which
Okay.
I actually really liked. It's one of those rare biopics that I thought was excellent. Because usually I'm pretty sure you where as a biopic, unless they focus in on a specific event or have a particular hook, I feel like they can be a bit wishy-washy. But this one, because it was over a longer period of time than I typically like my biopics, but it was very much focused on this relationship or these two relationships. So it had a really strong thematic link that kept it going throughout the movie, and it was really well directed.
I think a three-way relationship is still just one relationship.
Yeah, but there are points where it's two separate relationships.
Okay, but they merge to one, right? Well, that's
do,
the whole thing, that it's like a eponymous relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I have heard that it's very fictitious, like a lot of it's complete bullshit.
Yeah, apparently it's just an interpretation.
Yeah, yeah.
Very common statement.
Apparently his family like saw it and were like outraged and like this is complete nonsense of what actually happened.
Yeah, and that's fine. It made for a good movie. I'd rather have a good movie that's fictitious than them go, "Hey, this is the truth," and it's boring.
I'm just pointing out. I feel like it's worth mentioning that it's not a
No, sure.
If you're going to point it out with Braveheart, you need to point it out with.
No, it's completely fair. Given I did just mention that with the Churchill thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a very good movie. I really enjoyed it.
I believe at the end, Wonder Woman herself shows up. She breaks the fourth wall out of a portal and comes and saves them from bad guys.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, spoilers. Something consider. But no.
Oh, is that right?
What? No, of course you weren't bloody right. God, you're a knob. No, I followed this up with a comedy I had been looking forward to for a long time. This was The Death of Stalin. This is from Amanda Iannucci, who did one of my favorite TV shows, For the Thick of It, and it's very similar in that sense. It's the political comedy, but this time it's a Stalin Russia, and it's got a pretty wide cast, a lot of people in it. Interestingly, no one is doing a Russian accent, which was a conscious choice because just so they could have freedom to just kind of off the cuff lines. They're just like, I don't want you doing it in your accent, limiting yourself. Just do your accent.
That's annoying.
It feels annoying at first, but you get used to it until Jason Isaacs comes in about 2/3 into the movie with a thick Yorkshire accent.
Is he maybe Russian?
Yeah, he's a Russian army general. And he's got this really strong Sheffield accent. It sounds exactly like Sean Bean's accent.
He should, if you're going to do that, at least have a neutral accent. Don't go.
Everyone else has just kind of got their own accents. They're just doing, just a regular voice. He comes in with this really thick accent. I'm like, what are you doing? I mean, I love you. You're a national treasure, but what are you doing?
Next.
Next, I did The Big Sick, which obviously you and Matt did.
Yeah, we did that already.
Loved it, obviously. Great movie.
That's fantastic. It's great. I was surprised. Matt actually picked a good movie for Overload. I was shocked.
Fighting words.
That's what I said. I opened that review saying, Matt, you've actually picked a movie I love, so you know what? This is the bar. You've set the bar.
That's a pretty high bar.
So now you're going to have to try and top it. But no, that's a delightful romance story.
It was. And very funny.
Very funny, yeah. My favorite, I won't spoil it because this isn't a spoiler discussion, of course. This is all spoiler free. I'll just say you'll know what I mean. There's a line where she says something tastes like something, and Ray Romano's reaction killed me.
Yeah, no, it's very good.
That's all I'm saying. Right, next.
The last one I think that was not for reviews. I'm just having a scan of my list. Review. I mentioned Black Panther earlier. That's going to be a review. So Split.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, this is interesting. I mean, all right, I'm going to give a spoiler warning here, right? Because I feel like all the interesting things that I actually want to discuss with you about this, I have to give a spoiler warning. Not necessarily for most of the plot itself, but for the thing that it reveals at the end of the film.
Which, to be honest, most people will be aware of anyway by now.
At this point, they will, which is why I'm just giving this minor spoiler warning for it. But if you are completely avoiding anything about Split, you've not seen it yet, you've got a chance here to skip this or turn the rest off, right? You've got a chance. And of course, what I'm talking about, so we're in spoilers now, for this one specific spoiler, it is a sequel to Unbreakable.
Yes.
And we did Unbreakable in Flux. In fact, it was like the second episode we ever
Very
did.
early, yeah.
Yeah, of Influx. And I love that film. So I'm curious as to how you feel about Split. Which is basically the origin of the supervillain that he will face in the third film, Glass, which is getting made right now. So,
yeah.
Go on.
I liked Unbreakable a lot. I definitely didn't love it as much as you do, though. I did like it a lot.
A couple rewatches will fix that, but go on.
Yeah, maybe. I thought this was very good. Very good. Again, I didn't love it in the same way that, I think it's not quite as good as Unbreakable, and I didn't love that.
Oh, well, I agree it's not quite as good as Unbreakable. I think my weakness of the film is the old lady, the therapist. I think she's kind of weak. She's kind of a bad actress.
Yeah,
but...
and kind of just an exposition dump of a character.
Yep. The rest of it, though, McAvoy, Anna Taylor-Joy...
those two in particular are fantastic.
They're great. Obviously, I love the ending. I love when I realised where it was kind of going with what it was doing with him. I thought that was all great. I even liked how... Because he's trapped with a couple of other girls. I kind of liked how they played with some of the tropes of, like, what would happen in that situation, but I actually felt like a very realistic way of, like... Because they don't really like her. She's like the nerdy, weird girl they don't really talk to. Yeah. But when things actually came down to it, they actually acted in a fairly responsible, realistic way. I kind of
like that. Hey, that doesn't really matter right now.
Yeah, basically, yeah, because they're being all weird and teenager at the start, but then once they're trapped in this situation, they're showing concern for her. It was actually kind of nice and refreshing, because I feel like most movies would do they still hate her, even though they're in this situation.
Like, they can go back to hating her after, it's fine.
Yeah.
But, yeah, not in this scenario.
But yeah, when that music kicked in...
Yeah. I appreciated that they kept the colour scheme of the green and the yellow.
Yeah. Also, it's really obvious. See, when you look at the posters and you look at the titles, you're like, how did we not see this? How did we not see this before it came out?
Yeah. Obviously, this is a thing I knew going in to the movie, because it was unavoidable, let's be honest.
I knew it going in, and I saw it like 3 days after it came out.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I went on a good rant on that review with Tim.
Oh, I remember you. I remember you telling me just how much you had, because you ranted quite a bit that week, if I recall.
Mm-hmm.
In various reviews or whatever we were doing at the time, maybe the TV news. Just getting it off your chest multiple times.
But you liked it. I assume you're into Glass then. You're hopeful for that face-off.
I'm sure I'll enjoy it. I've got no reason not to.
I'm looking forward to it, yeah. But there you go. So I guess that wraps us up. But I should obviously plug things. We mentioned the Black Panther review, of course, because it was unavoidable, given how much it was featuring at the start of the show. But also this week, for Z Public, we actually had our Influx review of Mean Girls go up, which me and Connor did. That was a vault pick. Our patrons kind of...
It was highly requested.
It was highly requested, so we did that for that reason. So you can check out that, and I'd never seen it before, so I won't spoil the thoughts, but you can go and have a look. So there was that, and of course we had Black Panther, and the Screams review for Victor Crowley, the fourth Hatchet film, also went out this week. So that's a thing you can check out. Obviously, patrons this week early, they got the next Influx, which is a Korean film called The Villainess, which came out last year. It's an action film, so they can get that. Obviously, that'll come out next week for everyone else. The next Screams After Midnight has been pushed back a little bit. There's some news with that announced in the video more directly, but basically we're having to slow down how many Screams After Midnights we're doing. You'll get the full details on the next Screams episode that goes up, but so that's happening as well as the Patreon pick that we still have to do for this month. That's also coming next week, so you can check out those.
Just because I feel like you're getting this list, you're just looking at the YouTube page and going, "What's there?"
I'm actually not looking at it at all, but yeah, okay. Go on.
We did just record our review for Mute, the new Netflix movie.
That'll be up. That'll be up before this goes up. I'm putting that straight up after we're done. So,
Be sure to check out our hot take on that.
Yeah, a review of Mute, Duncan Jones's new film, went straight to Netflix original. That will be up. That'll already be up by the time you're seeing this.
Yes.
So
yes, please enjoy.
So there you go. That has been this week's movie news, and we are clocking in at about an hour and 20 minutes, which is a full hour less than last week, I think.
Oh man. I thought this
think
was
so.
the fourth part, not the third.
No, it's just, I'm pretty sure this is the third part. And that means nothing to anyone at home listening or watching this. But for us, we typically go in about half-hour chunks. We don't have. I mean, we sometimes have a little break between them, but it's mainly just because the recording software can.
It's finicky.
It doesn't like going longer than 30 minutes, so it might start having sync problems and stuff. But that's us. So we kept. This wasn't really. I mean, I did jettison a few stories that I thought, that's not that interesting. That's not that interesting. But for the most part, it was just a light news week. It was just later.
Happen eventually.
Yeah.
For first time this year.
So here we go. So that has been 1.21 Gigawatts movie news. Let us know what you thought of any of the news stories in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mail_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the show and the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. You can get a link in the description to that. But all of it helps. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching movies, and we'll see you next time.